What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? What the hell is going on a Thursday? What have I just awakened to? I've just been awakened by hundreds of text messages. Funny coming from an Eagles fan who just checked in with me the other day saying, "Yo, are y'all going to release Jahan Dotson? Because we're looking in Philly to add another receiver to the room." I wake up to the news that Washington has traded for third-year player Jahan Dotson and a fifth-round pick to the Eagles in exchange for a 2025 third-round pick and two seventh-round picks. I'm going to repeat that. Another intra-division trade between Washington and the Philadelphia Eagles for a fifth-round pick and two 2025 third. We traded Jahan and a fifth to Philly for a third round pick and two seventh round picks. What this tells me, when you trade a player divisionally, you have no concern that that player is going to hurt you. Number two, what it tells me, another move has to be getting cooked up at this point because there's no way we're just running it with Diami, Olamide Zaccheaus, and Luke McCaffrey on the back end of Terry McLaurin. That means something must be getting cooked up. Are we re-entering the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes? Are we going after Cortland Sutton? Are we going to try to trade for T. Higgins? What is the corresponding move to go with this? I just woke up. I still got sleep in my face. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I see the group chat buzzing. 127 messages out the group chat. I see people from Philly texting me. I see texts from people who don't text me. Rio, what are your thoughts on this? Rio, wake up. I work nights, so this is my sleepy time. I went to sleep after I dropped the kicker video this morning. You know, we released Riley Patterson, by the way. Thought that was what I was waking up to. But everybody's like, yo, we traded him. We traded him. I'm like, yo, we traded who? We traded Jahan Dotson. So everybody in my comments and everybody on X, Rio, some of y'all are too hard on Dotson. It's not his fault. It's all Eric Bieniemy's. I'm sure he's actually looking good in practice. He was always open last year. Let's have a real fucking conversation for a second. Going into year 3 in a trade back situation that we thought we won by a landslide when it happened. You know, when we traded back from 11 to 16, and instead of taking a really good receiver like Chris Olave, we traded back, and that trade netted us Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson Jr., Sam Howell, and Cole Turner. We lost that trade with flying colors because the only thing we got out of this trade that was substantial was Brian Robinson Jr., dog, running back one, leader of the offense. Happy that we got B-Rob, but a B-Rob for Chris Olave trade straight up, I don't know about that one. So let's give you Ron Rivera's track history of first-round picks in D.C. I know we hate to keep piling on Ron because he's such a nice guy, but look what Ron did with his sweet, precious time here in D.C. The first pick, the easiest one, Chase Young. That nigga's on his third team in 5 years. His next pick, Jamin Davis, is currently clawing to make the team as a edge rotational pass rusher. We drafted him to be an off-ball backer with also the 16th pick in the draft. Bless his heart. The third draft, Jahan Dotson. 2 seasons played, about 30 games played, 1,000 yards total. Significantly regressed in year 2 for a combination of things. The offense, the scheme, the quarterback play, and because this nigga was not getting open. It's a combination of things. But Jahan is no longer with us. And when you add a pick, like a mid-round pick, to the player, like when you attach it to the hip of the player when you're making a trade, It's because they would not take him unless you added something to the pot as well. When you have to add a sweetener to get a guy off your roster to a divisional rival, you really want a guy off your football team. Crazy that 2 days after me and Jalen, shout out Bleeding B&G, we make a freaking De'Ami Brown breakout season video, I was very passive about Jahan in the video. I kept acting as if Jahan's not even in conversation for wide receiver 2, because this is what everybody's been telling me. This is what Lake and folks been telling me. This is what everybody who's been watching practice or watching what's been happening in preseason has been telling me, is that Jahan was not cutting it this offseason. Jahan was the player that Brian Mitchell was talking about when he made that video that day. Body language has been bad. On-field performance has been bad, and he has regressed. And if you think if you think that this guy is Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson, but the only thing that was different, they don't have quarterbacks either. They don't. Garrett Wilson don't have a quarterback. Nigga still giving up 1,000 a year. And he won Rookie of the Year. Chris Olave quarterback situation, dumpster fire. Still going for over 1,000 every year. I don't think it's a dumb move. I don't think he light us up, nigga. He's not starting for them. He's not starting for them. Who's he starting over? Paris Campbell? No. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Paris Campbell are their starting receivers. Y'all think this nigga couldn't start on a team with De'Ami Brown as his competition? Y'all think he's going to start for Philadelphia? The Philadelphia has the best receiving crew in the division. Mikey Sanders still definitely got to switch over to number 1 now. Let's get Mikey Sanders still in number 1 expeditiously. I want that jersey on him before end of business. Let's get it to him. But we can keep it real now. Hey, Pedro, you remember our draft day reactions for Jahan Dotson? They were very similar to Emmanuel Forbes. I'm going to have to find that clip from my draft stream. I literally tipped the pick because I was so mad. I said we traded back to draft wide receiver 10 in the class. I went crazy on draft night when we drafted this boy. Terry McLaurin fantasy owner smiling like Shrek. Oh, Terry McLaurin is probably going to see his first 1,400 yard season this year. He's about to get fed. He'll be a rotational player there. Yes, he will. Jahan Dotson is now going to be like Olamide Zaccheaus was when he was in Philly. Jahan Dotson's not starting in Philadelphia, guys. Only a Washington fan would say that. Just like only a Washington fan would blame fans for a player regressing. He hasn't been what he's supposed to be. You're losing your job to De'Ami Brown, who has 476 career yards in 3 seasons, and you're losing a job to them. I'm not losing no sleep over Jahan Dotson being traded. To trade to your divisional rival and throw in a pick as well shows how bad they wanted this Bama off the roster. I wish him best in his endeavors elsewhere. He's not it right now. He still lacks play strength. He still struggles to get off that press man, and clearly he's replaced De'Ami Brown in being out there just running around. I wish him well, and I hope his family's good. I hope his mother's fine. They literally they just dropped the mic up for Jahan this morning and got him out of there. Adam Peters is wheeling and dealing on a Thursday. Is there a corresponding wide receiver move Washington is going to make? Brian Mitchell told everyone Jahan was ass and everyone attacked him for. I know, because our fans have a problem with player worship. They player worship guys before they went out and earned the player worship. They buy a jersey. They put him as their profile picture. They changed their Twitter name to some shit like Jahan Radar, Jahan the GOAT, Jahan my savior. And then when he doesn't perform, they blame other people for it. It's the coach's fault. It's the fans' fault. It's everybody's fault except for the player that is not doing their job. Well, guess what? Adam Peters and Dan Quinn said this Bama's not good enough to play for our roster right now and traded him to a divisional rival. You know, like when the Eagles traded us Donovan McNabb, we dealt with the Eagles in the draft. So y'all owe Brian Mitchell a lot of apologies right now. And y'all owe apologies to people like Jalen Morgan of Bleeding B&G and me for calling out what is happening. Nobody was ever hating on Jahan Dotson. Niggas don't hate on their own players, my boy. I wanted him to be him. I called him Jahim. I said he was going to unseat Terry as the number one receiver here. That boy just got packaged up like a practice squad player. We had to throw a pick on his hip to get him traded up out of here. I wonder what happens. Welcome CD Lamb. CD Lame. Another thing I want to talk about. I see people putting a graphic up about CD Lamb to Washington. How the hell do y'all think we're going to pull CD Lamb off? Do y'all really think we're going to get CD Lamb from Dallas? Teams don't trade star players in the division. That rarely ever happens. Star players. Jahan is not that. Trading Jahan to the Eagles is not the same as Washington trying to acquire CD Lamb. CD Lamb is an actual dog, an actual superstar wide receiver. And Jahan gets the most glaze ever for a receiver that ain't even break 600 yards in a season. Oh, for sure. For sure. That's what fans do, though. That's what fans do, though. Like, Philly probably thinks they're getting a starting receiver based on the fan reaction to this shit, but no, you're not getting that. Maybe he can work his way up to be that, but on that roster with them receivers, he's not even starting over Paris Campbell right now. What are we talking about? Traded faster than some diet Oreos. Who's going to be the other three? I think that until we make a corresponding move right now, it's Terry, Diami on the outside, Alambade Zacchaeus in the slot. That is your starting three receivers. And then who else is on the roster? Luke McCaffrey, because we drafted him in the third. That's 4. Who's 5? Jamison Crowder, because he's the primary returner. Who is 6 is the question. Are we going to wait till cut down day and bring someone Cliff's familiar with? Are we going to bring in a name that should not be released but gets released due to the numbers game in the NFL? Will it be a draft pick we thought we were going to take in the draft who ends up not cutting a roster? Something else is coming. We just don't know what that corresponding move is yet for Washington. But hey, man, don't rule out anything at this point. Don't rule out anything. I would love for this to mean Brandon Ayuk. We know we flirted with this conversation all offseason. Brandon Ayuk told Ryan Clark in the Pivot podcast that this is where he wants to be, if not San Francisco. I know he's looking at that quarterback competition in Pittsburgh and saying, oh, I'm taking that Pittsburgh statement all the way back. I want no parts of playing for Justin Fields and Rince Russell. Jaden Daniels looks like the guy here. We no longer have a wide receiver too. If this man was to be traded to Washington right now, we would have co-number ones in Brandon Ayuk and Terry McLaurin. Dotson is no longer here. Are they really satisfied with what's in the room already? Are they clearing space for someone else? We have extra picks now to sweeten the pot if we wanted to make a trade with San Francisco. What do we think? So I said, we about to trade for some random ass receiver. You have some receiver that's played in close to an air raid or spread system before. I can see it, but I hope it's going to be somebody nice. They're going to get Michael Thomas to pair him up with Terry. We're going to bring back the 2018 Ohio State Buckeyes receiver. Wale just messaged CD saying, what you doing? What's up, big head? What's up, big head? What's going on in Dallas, big head? Ain't no way in hell that Dallas is going to trade CD Lamb to us. It would be crazy. It would be wild because I think this chat of 470, smash that like button. I think this chat has a better chance of going out and winning the Mega Millions this weekend than Jerry Jones trading us his prized possession wide receiver. I better get a damn Sports Center alert for Commanders wide receiver acquisition by COB. I know it would be nice. I would love it. I would love it. We need to sign somebody. The thing is, I think when it comes to signing people, we're going to wait till Tuesday because a lot of players are getting released and we're second in the waiver wire. So whenever guys do get released from a roster, then we're going to have second dibs. So whoever Carolina doesn't claim off waivers, Washington is next in the bidding for it. Yeah, I would take something from Denver. Sutton. I'm thinking you're talking about Sutton. Cortland Sutton. I'd take him. Fuck it. Trade for Randall Cobb. Is Randall Cobb still playing football? Yeah, this front office definitely not done. Lamb worth $40 million, and we have it. We are not getting CD Lamb, guys. Dallas is not trading CD Lamb to Washington, y'all. Y'all can stop the dream. It's not. You do not trade a superstar player to a divisional rival, y'all. We got to get off the juice on this Thursday afternoon. It's not happening, y'all. I wish Luke McCaffrey clears. But that should just tell guys, everybody who's mad at the team right now, you have to swallow your pride and accept the fact that Jahan Dotson was not it to this new coaching staff. We are purging Ron's failed draft picks past. And if you're not good enough, you're not playing just because you were drafted in the first round. Quinn ain't draft you. Adam Peters ain't draft you. So if you're not doing your job, deuces. Chuck the deuces up. Keep it pushing. Ron's failed ass draft picks are getting snipped a piece at a time. We're watching the vasectomy of Ron's draft pick past here in DC. There was a tweet that we might not be done with. We're definitely not done with the receiver room. Mine is Terry. You think we're going to be done with a receiver room of De'Ami Brown, Luke McCaffrey, Olamide Zaccheaus, Jamison Crowder? Absolutely not. Trust the process. Exactly. Trust the process. The comments on the ESPN article are all saying we got fleeced. No, we didn't get fleeced. We didn't. We got a 3rd and 2 7s for a guy that wasn't even going to crack the starting lineup here in DC this year. We threw a 5th in there. Let's see how this plays out. But clearly there's more. There's more to the picture than just this Jahan Dotson trade. I think we're going to get somebody else. Operation Scrub Rivera. Exactly. We got to get Ron Rivera all his mistakes up off this roster. I'm guessing Mikey Sanders still slides over to that number 1. And that's going to be a cold-ass motherfucking jersey. Give me that number 1 for Mikey Sanders still. A real one got to support it. It better not be fucking Cade York. Cade York can have number 3, even though I don't want him having the single digit either. He got to earn that shit. We got Riley Patterson. We released him. That's the news I thought I was waking up to. Yeah, we probably released Riley Patterson. I wake up to a trade of Jahan Dotson on a Thursday afternoon. They saying we got fleeced because we gave him to the Eagles. Yeah, we'll see how much we got fleeced when this nigga's wide receiver 4 for the Eagles. Oh, my God, we gave them their 4th receiver. What about an under-the-radar guy like Zay Jones? Zay Jones could make a lot of sense for this team. He has good size. He's a possession receiver. He's a specific archetype that we do not have on the roster. Forbes is next. The thing is, I don't think we would get anything for Emmanuel Ford. We'd probably get like a conditional 6th for Emmanuel Ford because while he plays a position that is valued league-wide, he's shown considerably less than Jahan. Jahan at least flashed in this rookie season. Emmanuel Forbes said we're waiting for him to flash. Cade York is number 3 anyway. Yep, Jern, he's number 3. Adios Dropson. Oh no. Niggas can cry behind this shit. Hey man, some are definitely going to, man. Rio, what you think about trading for Cooper Kupp? You think that's realistic? I don't know if Cooper Kupp is available via trade. I know Puka is getting him and getting his target share out of there in LA. I would love to have a guy like Cooper Kupp, but clearly something else is going on here in DC. And I would try my luck at the younger, better guys before I shoot my load for a guy like Cooper Kupp, but I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate it at all. They're going to put Jamar and Terry together. That would be crazy. I don't think the Bengals are going to let Jamar and T. Higgins out of that door, but we shall see. Go get Amari Cooper for a decent price. I would love that. That's the best. That's a top 3 route runner in the league. I would love that for real. Respect from West Michigan. DQ knows he can close out Jahan Dotson. Yeah, they're clearly not concerned about playing against Jahan Dotson twice a year because, like I have said 1,000 times on this stream so far, you don't trade a guy to your divisional rival if you think he's really going to bite you in the ass in the long term. De'Ami equals 2023 Puka. One could hope. I hope he's a fraction of Puka. I don't know about that, but I hope he's like a fraction of that. Give me like 45% of Puka's outcome, and we did a good job starting Diami this year. Makes too much sense. Ayuk, I feel you, man. I like it, but just this doesn't guarantee we're trading for someone else, but it does guarantee that someone will be acquired somehow. Brent says, I want we want us to go for T. Higgins. What would I give up? Whatever it requires, because T. Higgins is a number one playing number two there with Jamar Chase. That's a dog right there. He's gonna get wide receiver one money in the open market. If you trade for a guy like T. Higgins, if you trade for Brandon Ayuk, etc., you gotta pay him wide receiver one money and whatever the price is, compensation wise, draft compensation wise. I don't think we're putting up a first round pick for any of these guys, but after the first round, I think everything else might be up on the table. But who said Juju Smith Schuster is an option? Juju Smith Schuster is washed. If we bring him in, that's a concern because he is rinsed, washed, and tumbled at this point of his career. He is not it at all. If this wakes up Diami and or Terry gets 1,300, I'm with it. I just think this wasn't personal. This was business. I don't think that they were going to start Jahan Dotson. I think they had this man at like wide receiver 4. And they was like, fuck it, let's get something for him if we're not going to start him. He clearly does not fit what Cliff and company wants to do with the offense right now. It's not personal. I think people need to get out their sad ass feelings and stop staring at their Jahan Dotson jersey like the Wolverine meme looking into the picture frame and get over it. Jahan wasn't cutting it. He wasn't cutting it. It is what it is, man. Devontae Adams, now that would be fire. A bunch of Juju B's is less washed than Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, Juju Boo-Boo Smith-Schuster is not it right now. I'll tell you, that is not the answer at all. He's been crying for 2 years in a row. Yep. Jaden Daniels wants offensive rookie of the year and will try too much now. I don't think that's a storyline we have to worry about Jaden trying too much. I think he's gonna try regardless because the guy is he has winner mentality. What is up with treating ordinary players like superstar? Ask the fan base, Sean. It's what we do here. I've seen niggas ready to tell me to stop making YouTube videos because I called Antonio Gandy Golden a bust, or dudes in my DMs because we cut Kelvin Harmon. And I said, so what? He's not going to latch on and stick to an NFL roster. He's been in the XFL since and finally is getting a shot to make the team in Dallas. Like, it's what we do here. Jimmy Moreland's released. We cut the second coming of Deion Sanders. The player worship and ordinary hyperbole of some of these guys, it's what fans do here. It's what fans do here. I'm very surprised by this. While I didn't think Jahan was going to start this year, I was pretty solid that we weren't going to do anything with him, like release him or anything. My boy Chip, shout out to Chip of All About the Birds, who represents the Eagles, does a podcast for him. He literally checked in 6 days ago. Any chance we can get Jahan Dotson? Any chance y'all are letting him go, releasing him or anything like that? Because I'm hearing he's not going to make the roster. I said, my response was, there's no way he's going to get cut or anything. He's just not going to start. It's not looking good for him as a starter, but his roster spot is safe here. And he said, you want to reconvene and have this conversation again, my boy? I wake up to the news that Washington is trading former first-round pick Jahan Dotson and a fifth-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 2025 third-round pick and 2 seventh-round picks. Crazy. I don't think Jahan Dotson being traded has anything to do with the Commanders stinking. Actually, in fact, Jahan Dotson stinks, and that's why. What's going on, Rio? Do you think Adam Peters is going to add a bigger, well-known receiver to the room? What's going on, King Sean? Make sure y'all subscribe to King Sean WC's YouTube channel, by the way. I think we're not done adding to the room yet, but I also think Jahan just wasn't cutting it. Former first-round pick. They don't want the stench of a former first-round pick walking around with his lip poked out because he's not starting on the football team on it. For them to trade him to a divisional rival tells you exactly what they think of young Jahan Dotson. Some people don't want to hear it. They don't want to accept it. They don't want to believe it, but that's the case. I also think a corresponding move is to be made at the wide receiver position. While we would like that to be us trading for a big receiver like Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper. I've even seen people say CeeDee Lamb. I'm not sure why they're believing in that 33rd team graphic because that's not fucking happening. But another receiver is definitely getting added to the room. It could be someone Cliff knows, someone Adam Peters knows. It's not necessarily going to be a big trade, but it is possible because we just did add 2 7th rounders. We added a 3rd round pick next year. We have multiple thirds because we're not paying a 1st round plus for any of these guys, but we got multiple sweeteners now. It kind of reminds me of when we traded Chase Young and Montez Sweat to set up next year in the draft for the new guys. They set up the next act with the trade, but none of them were traded to divisional rivals. I wouldn't have seen us being opposed to trading Chase Young to a divisional rival. Now Jahan's terrible. Nobody said he was terrible. Nobody said he was terrible. He was y'all's second best player behind Terry. No, he wasn't. Nobody said he was terrible. See, this is the problem. Niggas get so on these players' dick, they can't take it when reality sets in and that player is not as good as they want him to be. So everybody that talked crazy in my mentions on Twitter and my comments over here, because I've been saying Jahan might not start for us, y'all. There's a good chance he doesn't start. Look at that. Look at where we sit here on August 22nd at 1:20 in the afternoon. Niggas not on the roster no more. Cry yourself to sleep with it, nigga. Best of luck to Jahan on his new team. I no longer care because we're no longer in the Jahan Dotson business. Another failed 1st round pick here in DC. Is what it is, man. Adam Peters needed liquid assets. Jahan was on the chopping block. Period. It's not personal. It's just business. It's not personal. It's just business. Yeah, he couldn't block, but I don't think that's why he was traded. They didn't draft the nigga to be a fullback. They drafted him because he can't get off press man. He can't get off jam. He has so little play strength that when you get your hands on the guy, he's stuck. You know what's delusion? The people who say Jahan was open all last year, the ball wasn't thrown to him. That is the most I don't watch football comment I've seen. Jahan left before Forbes because Jahan has at least put enough on tape that there's actually a market for Jahan Dotson. Nobody's calling our lines for Emmanuel Forbes. Not even Emmanuel Forbes' blood relatives would call us and try to trade for him right now. Nothing about Emmanuel Forbes that he's shown up to this point would make anyone pick up the phone and say, I want to trade for him. I'm glad. I kind of feel better now because y'all saying he's some shit. He's not some shit. He's just not good. He's not some shit, and he's not nice. He's somewhere in the middle. He's been mid-grade gas since we've drafted him. He flashed in his rookie year, but was injured, was banged up. He had an awful sophomore year for a litany of reasons, and he currently is losing a job to De'Ami Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus. He's not starting in the slot or on the outside. Yeah, I don't know if I believe yet that we're starting the season with De'Ami at the number 2. Something else had to be happening at the wide receiver position. Forbes' mama not traded. Oh, facts. Oh, it's facts. He's a slot receiver, and he's not even starting in the slot. Olamide Zaccheaus is. He's not even beating Olamide Zaccheaus to start in the slot. Like, what are we talking about? I'm just trying to speak the gospel and the truth. People don't want to believe it. People don't want to hear it. They do that shit with our players all the time. These dudes are not valued in the league like these fans value these players. Just because y'all go to sleep in these niggas' jerseys does not make them a superstar. That's not how it goes. It's not personal. It's just business. Cook Adam Peters. I ain't mad at it. Jahan wasn't a first rounder to start off. Ron was blind to see that. I think he was going to end up going in the latter half of the first round. I think he was going to go somewhere in the 27, 28, 29, 30 range. That's what I think he was supposed to go. Jamin wasn't a first rounder. And Forbes might not have been a first rounder. But, yeah, Jahan definitely flashed his rookie year. But to be a mid-tier wide receiver. And there's nothing wrong with being a mid-tier wide receiver. It's just when you're drafted in the first half of the first round, you get attached to production of that. You need to be productive like a first round wide receiver of the top half. What we left on the table, Chris Olave, George Pickens, and we drafted Cole Turner, Brian Robinson Jr., Sam Howell, and Jahan Dotson instead of Chris Olave. Anybody out there want to tell me we won that trade in August of 2022? Nah, you're just on his dick, bro. He ain't going to fuck you. Moving on. Jahan not going to fuck you, my boy. Jahan's not going to take you to the dance. I'm sorry your feelings are hurt. Cry somewhere else, because I'm telling you the truth right now. And I know the truth hurts. I know people run from the truth. I know people don't want to hear that shit. But when you attach a pick to a player and trade them to a divisional rival, that is not a player that is highly sought after. That is not a player that is highly regarded. That ain't what that is. We could have gotten Kyle Hamilton, correct, hey? We left an all-pro safety on the board. We left a potential all-pro receiver on the board with Chris Olave, and we were one pick away from getting Garrett Wilson. So my heart breaks for that. We definitely lost that trade. If you think we still won that trade, get off the dust. Leave the PCP alone. I'm just trying to put it out the way people need to hear it, y'all. I wanted Jahan to be him. I have a shirt that says Jahan on it. We have a posse pic of our group chat with all 6 of us wearing Jahan Dotson gear during the blackout game last year. We all wanted to see Jahan be him. I came on this channel and told y'all Jahan may challenge Terry for the number 1 wide receiver spot. Well, guess what? He ain't. He ain't the number 1. He ain't the number 2. He ain't the number 3. He not even the starting slot receiver over here. He losing jobs to De'Ami Brown and Alameda Zaccheaus, a fucking journeyman speed receiver. DJ said Brandon Ayuk is a possibility as the price to trade for him has lowered and the picks we acquired from Jahan can still be used. I wish we drafted Olave. We're more likely to acquire a receiver cut day. I think we're more likely to bring on a receiver once someone is cut Tuesday, but a man can dream. Until that happens, can Washington get in the conversation? Can we call up San Francisco and say, all right, let's stop the bullshit now. Last final offer, take it or leave it, because in a way, maybe it's the fan delusion in me. What if Ayuk has been gaming and pulling strings to make sure that all of the other destinations did not work out because he's trying to make his way to DC? That would be cool. I just don't think that's happening right now. I think if we acquire Brandon Ayuk, it will be in 2025. I don't think it will be right now. It'll be in 2025 or at soonest the trade deadline week. I don't see it happening before the season start. I think we're more likely going to cook us doing what? Cook us at wide receiver 4? Who are you starting over in Philadelphia? They got 2 number 1s in Devontae and A.J. Brown, and they about to start Paris Campbell in the slot. Cook us where? Who's he going to cook? Cook us. I'm so scared. Don't shoot. Like, what are we talking about? Exactly. What do you want us to do? Cry about it? Like, what are we talking about? Dotson is definitely starting. No, the fuck he's not necessarily definitely starting. How are we saying a nigga that did not beat out De'Ami Brown and Alameda Zaccheaus is definitely starting? This fan base, bless our heart. Bless our heart. They do this with everybody. Everybody is an underrated player. Everybody is a superstar. What are we talking about? Ron Rivera, worst GM we ever had. Combination of worst coach, worst talent evaluator, worst de facto president. This Sam Cosmi and Brian Robinson are the only picks he got right over a 4-year span. It's been all misses other than that. It is what it is. Sandra still, go ahead and put Dotson in that slot over Mikey Sandra still. He's going to lock him up like he was locking him up in practice here. I don't know what's in the water here, but we treat these guys like they are our lovers. These niggas defend these players like they go to bed with them at night. I'll tell you my fan theory. We were here before players. We're going to be here after players. So we don't got to get on our knees for none of these motherfuckers. I want to see guys ball here. When they don't ball, call that shit out. When they don't live up to expectation, when first round picks do not play like first rounders, we call it out on this side. I'm not going to say it was the coach's fault. It was the quarterback's fault. It was the offensive line's fault. It's everybody's fault except for the grown man who laces them up that was drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. I don't got time for it, y'all. I don't got time for it. But if y'all want to cry yourself to sleep over Jahan Dotson, you go for it, man. That's what our fan base do. Y'all go for it. I've heard the same about other guys. Rio dumping players because she won't swallow. Oh, my God. Stupid, man. Jahan is starting. He is a Pennsylvania native. He got something to prove with us. Good luck with that. I don't know what living in Pennsylvania has anything to do with his football game, but if you start him, go for it. He won't have any pressure over there because he will not be your number one or number two receiver. But y'all hold too much to these players like we blood relatives and we got to keep it real. They just ain't it. Take the exactly. Thank you, Gregory. 724 in the chat right now. Smash that like button. We all wanted Jahan to be him. We all saw rookie Jahan. We all saw and fell in love with the guy who walked around campus holding a football in any room you ever caught him in. The guy that was out here balling early in the season with Carson Wentz at quarterback. Jahan was ass last year, and it's true. Everybody's numbers took a dip with Eric Bieniemy's weak-ass offense. You know who still clawed their ass to 1,000 receiving yards? Terry McLaurin, because Terry McLaurin is a good wide receiver. Jahan Dotson had 4 games of 0 catches, 0 yards last year, and it was not just on Whopper, Milk Dud, Junior Mint, head-ass EB's offense, which was ass, but it was not only his fault. Watch the Seattle game last year and watch how that secondary puts Jahan in a straitjacket for 60 minutes straight. Watch how this man just be out there stuck at the line of scrimmage as soon as a corner puts their hands on him. And the thing is, we should support our players, but we don't have to be so attached to them. We don't have to put these players as our profile pictures and change our profile name to have their last name in it, because you start seeing things in burgundy coated lenses instead of seeing the truth. You start blaming everyone for the shortcomings. You start acting like this player is Teflon, and every fucking player that comes through here is the second coming of a gold jacket Hall of Fame player, when that's not the case. Can Jahan Dotson turn it around now that he's back home in Philadelphia? Sure, he can. You know what he's not doing? Starting on the outside for the Philadelphia Eagles, because they got 2 of them dudes already, and he's going to be in competition to start in that slot spot there in Philadelphia. I wish the best for him elsewhere. I wish the best for Ron Rivera, but now that they're no longer in my organization, I really could truly give a fuck what happens to these guys' careers. Jahan's a nice kid. He's a nice guy. Nobody's saying he was not a nice guy. Great guy. Great kid. EB's milk dud head. Oh, you fuck that Whopper Junior Mint head ass nigga Eric Bieniemy. Like, we're not even going to start on him. We're not even going to start on him. We literally got a 3rd round pick for a guy who could have gotten us a day 3 pick more than likely. Adam Peters Cook. Y'all was like this before the draft, and now we praising him. Yeah. So I'm cool with what Adam Peters did today, because also Mitchell Tinsley probably not making the roster. And I'm not sure Bryson Tremaine makes it easy either. There are no roster locks for real after maybe a Luke McCaffrey. So that tells you Washington's not done at the receiver position. There will be a signing made on cut down day or some type of trade taking place. We need Brandon. I wish, man. I got my fingers crossed still. Would love a Brandon Ayuk trade to happen before the season, because we still got a couple weeks for week 1 to give him a couple weeks to run around and get in game shape, to learn Cliff's offense. But Rambo said, imagine Dotson trying to go over the middle against Wagner and Louvu if he gets to play. Bless his heart and pray for him if that's the case, because we actually got linebackers now. This is not the Washington of before that did not possess linebackers in the middle of the field. I don't wish no ill will. I don't want Han getting hurt. I don't want him to do bad. I want him to do good over there. I want him to turn his career around. Maybe in Philadelphia, he turns into the player we wanted him to be here in DC. The recency bias is crazy. Jahan was arguably a top receiver in this class. No, the fuck he wasn't. Stop it. No, the fuck he was not. What are we talking about? We just make shit up over here. We just make shit. A nigga who has not had a 600-yard season yet is a top 3 receiving in his class. What are we talking about? And then when we do the thing like, but look how many touchdowns he had his rookie year. Okay. So because Raheem Mostert had 18 touchdowns last year, he's better than Christian McCaffrey because he scored a bunch of touchdowns, right? Is that what we're doing? Because he scored a bunch of touchdowns his rookie year. He had 7 touchdowns. He's better than Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave because he scored a bunch of touchdowns, even though they have over 1,000 yards clearing him so far in their first 2 years. George Pickens is also better than Jahan Dotson from that class. What are we talking about? You know, top 3 from no receiver class. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Good for Philadelphia. Good luck to Philadelphia. Y'all are in a year where y'all need to save your coach, Nick Sirianni, because Philly fans are ready to run that man out of town if y'all don't win this year. Best of luck, man. Best of luck, my boy. We need to let it go. I don't think Ayuk is happening, or at least this year it's not happening, but something else will be done at the wide receiver position here in DC. Jahan hasn't been the same since his concussions. Jahan had inconsistent QB play and a terrible OC, but y'all want to blame him. Garrett Wilson has had that in New York, over 1,000 both years. Chris Olave has had that in New Orleans, over 1,000 both years. The excuse is what? I'll wait for it. We'll wait for it in the chat, y'all. We'll wait for it. We'll wait for it. Congratulations, Mitch. I know y'all are Penn State guys. Maybe y'all could turn something around with him. I don't think he is what y'all think he's getting coming in. Now, we're not being spiteful. We just not on that man's meat because he ain't been it. So did Terry, and he's always over 1,000 yards because that's what a number 1 do. Jahan was a first-round draft pick. Nigga can't get 600 yards in a season. I'm not giving that all to everybody else. I'm not putting that all on everybody else. Trey had 1 billion different quarterbacks, and he still produces. Still produces. Still freaking produces. Olave and Wilson were drafted to be number 1s. Jahan was behind Terry. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with it? He's not getting open. They both played with Pro Bowl QBs. The fuck are you talking about? Who did Garrett Wilson play with that was a Pro Bowl quarterback? The fuck are you talking about, nigga? Jahan's not going to sleep with you, my guy. The fucking nigga saw. Who did Garrett? What Pro Bowl quarterback was Garrett Wilson playing with in the NFL? Zach Wilson? What are you talking about? The fuck are niggas talking about today? Be blowing me about this fan. This is why I keep it a buck on this channel. Because I'm not going to sit here and player worship these niggas like other people do. What are we talking about? Pro Bowl quarterback. Derek Carr stinks. Derek Carr stinks in 2023. Stinks is ass. The Saints quarterback position is ass. Rodgers played 5 plays last year. This is how you can tell niggas don't watch football. Niggas don't watch football outside of this fan base. Y'all don't know what's happening league-wide. I recommend y'all to get in. No, we're not stupid. You are a dick rider, sir. You are in love with a player that is not in love with you back. And you need to get over yourself. Jahan don't know you, nigga. These players ain't it. And when they ain't it, we move on for them. Point blank, period. Keep excusing Ron Rivera's ineptitude as a talent evaluator here in D.C. We not doing this shit over here. Cry yourself to sleep in your number 1 jersey. I got a Jahan shirt. I don't hate nobody. I don't hate nobody over here. What are we talking about? I'm not screaming like I scream like this on every video, my boy. If you were a part of the channel, you would know that. Nobody's hurt over Jahan Dotson. I'm hurt over the fact that our fans are this delusional. So carry on with your day. Do not prepare to eat horse shit in the streets because y'all niggas are not going to win the Super Bowl this year. But y'all go for it. Y'all are really nice, though. Go get John Mechie. I'm not going to lie. John Mechie scares me. Isn't he just coming back from cancer? That terrifies me. That terrifies me. John was cool, but he can't get open. Period. Point blank. It ain't that simple. I mean, it ain't that difficult. Appreciate you, Life of Kyrie, for the 99-cent donation. Rio is the only Commander fan I fuck with. Hey, I try to keep it real, 301. I try to keep it a buck. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. No one on the team was good last year except for Terry. And Terry, according to Terry's standards, wasn't even good. And Terry still had 1,000 yards last year in a down season. We were supposed to expect more from a first-round pick, my guy. We're allowed to expect that. Who did we draft this year? Jaden Daniels. If he comes in his first 3 seasons and is not producing, we need to expect more for Jaden Daniels. We can't blame the entire ecosystem around him for not doing his job. A wide receiver that is getting clamped at the line of scrimmage and cannot get off press man is not to be excused for that by saying, oh, it was the quarterback's fault. Oh, it was the offensive coordinator's fault. Oh, it was the offensive line's fault. Oh, it was the team that drafted him's fault. It's everybody's fault except for the wide receiver that goes out there and laces his shoes up like the rest of the grown man millionaires that play on Sunday afternoon. What are we talking about? Nigga, this is professional football. Y'all sound like little league football fans. Like this is your son out there playing for the local Little Giants. Like, let's put our adult pants on and talk about it like real people. I'm not mad about the trade. All Ron's first round picks suck. Appreciate you for the $5 donation, Brendan. Yeah, they all stink. Y'all did the same shit with Chase Young. I told y'all he was not good. Y'all told me I was a hater every day. This nigga's on team number 3 in 5 years. Currently, if you say anything bad about Forbes, you're a hater. If you said anything bad about Jahan Dotson, you're a hater. The whole time, Adam Peters and company don't even want him on the roster, and we traded him to a divisional rival. So what are we talking about? There's Bambas in the chat fighting for their life. They got to share blood. They got to share blood type and family ties with Jahan Dotson. There are Bambas in this chat right now willing to risk it all, willing to jump in front of a bullet for a receiver because he wasn't doing his job here. Do we draft a receiver in 2025? It's definitely on the menu. I think we're going corner tackle to start the draft in 2025, but I think everything is on the table for this team. Preach it, Rio. You telling the people what they should hear. 999 Super. I appreciate you. I tried to. And look at Mingo. Forbes is trash, but Jahan is a baller, right? I mean, if we want to call it what it is, you know what I'm saying? Jahan is the little better offensive version of Emmanuel Forbes. Another first-round pick that we're not getting first-round pick production from early in their career. If Emmanuel Forbes had any trade value and someone threw us some picks for him, he wouldn't even be on the roster right now. Something big could be coming, but I'm not sure we're going to make a big trade this late in the game in the offseason. So I think the receiver position is handled on cut down day. I think it'll be someone that's released from another roster, but who knows? I'm happy teams are actually picking up the phone to deal with us. When Dan was here, yeah, nobody wanted to deal with us. No one wanted to talk to Bruce Allen or Dan Snyder, but we're getting business done. And nobody's fleecing us. So before people start that fleecing shit, just like Howie Roseman tried to fleece us on draft night with the trade and get some extra stuff, Adam Peters was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And I'm not necessarily saying fuck these players. I'm just saying once we get rid of players that aren't doing what they're supposed to do, so be it. Shrug, we move on. We fight on. I'm not tripping. Mad, but like not. Diami actually may be better than Jahan. It's time we move on from Rivera's pick. It was going to happen. And Diami is another one of Rivera's picks. He was a 3rd-round pick, but he was drafted by Ron Rivera in 2021. It should tell you all you need to know that Diami Brown, who has not produced one iota of a good season in DC, beat Jahan Dotson out for the starting spot this year and is a better fit for the Cliff Kingsbury offense. If you don't want to believe me, believe the coaches, believe the front office, believe what you see happening in front of your eyes. De'Ami Brown outright won the wide receiver 2 battle. The fact that Jahan was in a wide receiver 2 battle with De'Ami Brown tells you everything you need to know about what Jahan Dotson was in DC. Fight for your life, man. Hey, if you love a guy, stand up and fight for him, my boy. That's true love, man. Y'all do it. De'Ami is better than Jahan. What are we talking about? Who said De'Ami is better than Jahan? He beat him out for the job this year, though. And that's a problem for me because De'Ami's been nothing in his career so far. You're losing a job to De'Ami Brown. Why aren't we going to hold him to that? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we? Dudes be delusional, bro. I love when the casuals jump in the chat and start making up narratives and shit. Jahan lost the job to this man. He lost the job. De'Ami Brown is not much better at all. He has the drops. He's way too much. I know. That is the point I'm making. De'Ami has not been a good pro in this league, and he won the job. Ari Miroff, My Sports Updates on Twitter, said NFL trades aren't done for the day. So everybody Birdman hand rub. Everybody buckle up. Get your popcorn ready. Washington may not be done yet. I'm going to hold my expectations low and anticipate us signing a receiver that gets cut in the coming days. But it could be a big trade on the way. I just don't know if that's happening. I don't know if that's in the cards for us. My boy Charles, shout out to Charles, repping all the way down from Tampa, Florida. Forbes will be released. Jamin on the block. I think Jamin makes it as a rotational rusher. Emmanuel Forbes will make the team. He may not start at number 1 or number 2 corner, but Emmanuel Forbes will make the roster. But hey, I said the same thing about Jahan Dotson, and here we are on a Thursday afternoon talking about him being traded to an NFC East rival. Washington has the money. We have the money to do anything we want. We have the cap flexibility to make anything happen, and we're about to roll into another offseason with around 90 to 100 million plus in salary cap space. But the thing is, I don't think they're looking to fill every hole right now. I think they're looking to evaluate who fits into the current identity we want. And clearly, Jahan Dotson does not currently fit what they want to do here. Too bad Philly will lose against San Francisco again. Philly and Dallas will find a way. The last 25 to 30 years, Dallas hasn't done shit. None of us have. The Eagles have done shit. The Giants have done shit. Dallas and Washington, we can hold hands in kumbaya in a circle around a football stadium because none of us have done shit in the last 30 years. Dallas at least has good regular seasons, but none of us has accomplished too much of shit. We've put no accolades on our jacket in the last 30 years as a Washington fan. Would love to have Brandon Ayuk. Don't think that's happening, but we don't know what's going on. Locked On says Ari Meroff doesn't know shit. He steals all his information from other sources. Could be true. I don't know who's who and what's a reliable source. I only trust Adam Schefter, Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo, those guys. If it don't come from one of them, it ain't law. So we don't know. Okay, we haven't done shit, but why can't y'all catch up? Catch up to what? Sure, I would love a ticket to the playoffs to lose every year like y'all, but I don't think that's the flex you think it is, 301. I don't think that's the flex that you think it is, my boy. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 727 in the chat right now. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you aren't subscribed. This is the realest, rawest, unfiltered Washington Commanders content you're going to find in the community. Make sure you sub up to the channel, my boy. And make sure if you do your sports betting this season, do it with BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, home of the fastest payouts in the industry, and for 125% match bonus for your first 3 deposits of up to $2,000. BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, where it all begins. When we hit the 1 hour mark, I think we're going to wrap up this stream for the day, but we got so many people in here. Let's have some conversation. Eric Caldwell says, Ron Rivera keeps preaching these DraftKings nights. Don't watch football. This game is divas. This game is divas, and Dotson didn't deliver. He didn't deliver so far. Oh, also, now that you bring up Ron Rivera, I'm sick and tired of national media publications handing Ron Rivera a microphone and having him speak on the situation here in DC. I don't want to hear from that man. Let that man go enjoy the golf course. Let him enjoy his time with Stephanie and company, his dogs. Get that man off of TV and talking about my football team. You don't get to ruin us over a couple years and then talk about Big Money. Sonny with the 20 donation. I appreciate you, my boy. Damn, Rio. This is the wide receiver core we rocking with. I know Jahan didn't do his thing here, but I'm tired of waiting on next year as usual. That being said, I really hope we super dick Philly this year. These fans talking mad trap, but that's what they do in Philly. It's what they do in Philly. It is. I appreciate you for the donation, my boy. And there's no way we're just going to rock with the wide receiver position as it currently stands here. I know I've said 1,000 times, I don't think we're going to fill every hole. We're going to plug every need in year one here of Adam Peters and company, but I can't see them going into the season with just Diami, Olamide Zaccheaus, Luke McCaffrey, Jamison Crowder, and maybe a Bryson Tremaine as the wide receiver group. There's no way they don't sign a veteran that gets released on Tuesday or attempt to make a trade for some type of veteran receiver. The thing is, a trade could be for someone that none of us has on their radar. They could be trading for a no-name receiver or a receiver that not a lot in the fan base know that fits perfectly into the offense. There are a lot of things that can be done over these next almost 3 weeks before the season starts. But we will get some type of finality on the situation once roster cuts go out by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard on Tuesday, August 27th on roster cut down day. And on that day, me and Louis T will be going live on my channel at 8 p.m. on the 27th for a post-cut clarity final 53-man roster reaction where we talk about the final roster. Will it be the final roster? Any corresponding moves the team makes? Any of the above? Me and Lou, the GOAT of Washington Commanders community, Louis T Network, will be on the channel talking about all of it. And I don't know if anybody's joking about cancer in the chat. That is not something I want to see. Please do not joke about cancer. That is something very serious. Y'all heard the man Armand. Y'all heard the good man Armand Brown. Like, comment, subscribe. You know how we do on the channel. You know how we do on the channel. Jahan wasn't playing hungry. We only keep players that's going to eat. We've opened up the doors to competition, y'all. Let guys go out and win these jobs, my boy. Let them go out and win these jobs. You know, we even made Jaden Daniels go out and win the job, you know? Go out and we made Jaden earn it, you know? We made Jaden earn it. I see Bama's in the chat fighting for their lives right now for Jahan Dotson, waving pom-poms, all type of shit on some longest yard type shit. Jahan couldn't beat man or press coverage. I won't say he's trash, but he not what we wanted him to be when we took him 16. Rio, we're going to be all right. JD5 will make our wide out shine, throw people wide open. Yep, he throws with anticipation, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. We got 703 in the chat right now. I'm from the 703, so that's a perfect number that's in the chat right now. We're not getting CeeDee Lamb also, by the way. Ayuk really wants to come here, but we may not be in a situation to make that happen because the 49ers may not want to deal him in the conference. That's a thing that we don't talk about enough, too, that we may not want to, they may not want to do business with anybody in the conference. They're trying to have their cake and eat him, too. They're trying to not pay Ayuk, but also not give him what he wants. Philly born and raised 4 for 4. Dotson will flourish up here as the 4th or 5th option. Say that again. Say that again for those in the back. Will flourish as the 4th or 5th option in Kellen Moore's motion offense. And if y'all happen to get Brandon Ayuk, doesn't scare me. Just like Jahan Dotson to y'all does not scare me. Y'all receiver core is already scary. It didn't get too much scarier for me today, but that's just me. Competition, period. Period. I agree. Make guys go earn that shit, man. Do you think we get a new receiver before the Patriots game? I think we might get a. This is how I think it's going to play out. I don't think we sign or trade for anyone before the Patriots again. I think we go out and see how the wide receiver room competes in this final nothing as preseason game on Sunday. And I think we are going to make calls around the league, and we're going to try to attempt to trade for somebody. And if that doesn't work, we pivot to signing a good veteran that ends up getting cut. We don't know yet if Dyami Brown is better, but we do know he won the job in spring and in camp. All spring, we've heard about Dyami. All summer, we've heard about Dyami. Dyami is your starting boundary receiver opposite Terry McLaurin. He has not been better than Jahan on a regular season standpoint yet, but he just beat the nigga out for a starting job on this team. So take whatever you will with that information. Can't believe the Redskins actually have real fans. What the fuck am I watching? I don't even know who the Redskins are. Them niggas don't exist anymore. T. Higgins, Ayuk, prime targets. I think those are the fan dream targets, but I don't see it. Michael Thomas is very washed, but that would definitely feel like some Washington's past type of acquisition. I could definitely see that. Michael Thomas, I don't know about great option. I don't know if the word great could be attached to washed slant boy. I don't know if you could attach that word great, to be perfectly honest. But the fuck has Michael Vick done for the he had a good season. I saw him put up 60 on us in prime time, so you won't hear me say a negative thing about Michael Vick. Are there any good veterans actually on the fringes of some teams, though? Yes, like there's going to be veterans that don't win to the numbers game on another roster. Like they're going to lose to the numbers game and being replaced by younger, cheaper options. There will be veteran receivers worthy of being signed, and Washington gets second fiddle at all of them, considering we were the second worst team in the league last year. So we will have our opportunities. Y'all, I think hell could freeze over before Jerry Jones allows CeeDee Lamb to be a Washington Commanders. Who said Jonathan Allen wants out, Greg? Who said, because I think he's changed his tune. I think he's changed his tune since Peters and Dan Quinn and company got in the building, but I don't know if he wants out still. I know before. Who disrespecting Virginia legend Michael Vick? Ain't nobody disrespecting Vick on this side. That's my guy. Hunter Renfrow is out there and available, I believe. Yeah. I think if we sign a guy, it'll be a boundary receiver. I don't think we want this redundancy of having like 5 slot receivers, and I'm definitely not putting Renfrow on the outside. So now I'm a pass on that. Dotson will flourish up. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Eagles are going to be smoking y'all. The Eagles have a much better roster than us right now. Smoking, I mean, we almost beat them twice with Sam Howell last year. Sam Howell combined for 700 yards and 5 touchdowns versus the Eagles last year. I think we got a better signal caller behind center now. So smoking us, God bless. Y'all barely beat us with Sam Howell and Milk Dud Jr. Mint head ass EB running the offense last year. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. I can bet all of my money that Dyami going to do the same shit as soon as them lights come on. Dyami goes missing. It's very possible that happens because that's all we've seen from him so far in his career. I put that same money on that Jahan's not going to do much more than he did over here for the Eagles. We got better on defense. We got better on both sides of the ball. We have a franchise quarterback behind center. We actually have a good tight end room, and we have a 2-headed running back monster. The 2-headed monster y'all thought we had with bum-ass Antonio Gibson. Y'all thought Gibson was good. Gibson was ass. We actually have 2 good running backs now. We might have a left tackle. We're good on the inside. We upgraded at center. I believe we upgraded at left guard. If Coleman's good, that's an upgraded left tackle. So we upgraded on both sides of the ball. I think people lose sight that this is year 1 of something new. Like people are walking around talking about 10, 11 win season. Like, fam, let it happen. The Houston Texans were fun last year because nobody had expectations for them to be good. Their team was expecting to pick top 3 to 5 in the draft last year. Their fans were. I don't know why our fans think when the whole organization's been turned over that we're supposed to just go out and clinch a playoff berth this year. That's a house money type situation. If that happens, congratulations. Your rebuild recalibration year was expedited. You got better faster than you were supposed to. Congratulations. Cherry on top of a successful rebuild. But that's not most likely to be the case this year. Like we're looking at a 6 to 8 win team in year one, trying to establish an identity. And I think people need to swallow those said truths. Keep it a buck with what? Y'all not keeping up with the Eagles, man. We kept up with them twice last year with a considerably worse roster and coaching staff. If y'all watch football, y'all be able to tell me the same thing. Did you watch the Eagles games we played with last year? We played them twice. Both of those games were one possession games. One of them went to overtime with Sam Howell at quarterback and EB at offensive coordinator. I can go into more detail if you would like me to, because it's clear some of you niggas did not watch football last year. Gibson was ass. Period. Be excited. Exactly. Be excited, but temper the expectation. Definitely don't want no more midget ass receivers over here. We need some size out there. I watched the game. This team is completely different. I know it's better. It's better. It's better than last year. The team's better. And when the Eagles played the Cowboys 33-13, I love how 301. Like, look at the Cowboys' main character syndrome. This man is making everything revert back to Dallas. I love it, man. I love the NFC East. I love the NFC East, man. And you know, we always going to talk that shit over here. Do I think Martavis Bryant is going to show up out of nowhere? No. Martavis Bryant has not played football in 6 years. While the story is cool that he was reinstated back into the league, no. I don't think Martavis makes the roster. I think he has a shot. I don't know if how the practice squad rules have changed since the COVID era, but if there was a chance for him to make a practice squad, maybe that. I don't see Martavis Bryant making a final roster. Should have been swept if it wasn't for Dak's Bigfoot. It's always something with y'all, right, DMV? If Dez would have caught it, if Dak didn't get hurt, if Zeke wouldn't have did this, if McCarthy wouldn't have done that. It's always something with y'all. Y'all got everything y'all need in the cupboard to make a nice, healthy stew, and y'all always make shit sandwiches there in Dallas, man. What's going to be the excuse this year? I pray that Dallas season blows up and we're watching them deconstruct that whole roster. No, fire the coach. Let Dak walk. Let CD walk. I want them to feel a little bit of what rebuilding is like in Dallas, because we coming off what, 3 back-to-back 12-win seasons for Dallas with nothing to show for it. Gibson may have fumbled a bit, but respectively, if you take that one flaw out, he was the most explosive. That wasn't even his main flaw. His main flaw was vision. It wasn't the fumbles. It was the vision. Gibson saw daylight and holes to run through like he was Ray Charles. That was the problem. Then fumbling. And then number 3, he falls over the turf monster every time he touches the ball. Every motherfucking time. He needs LASIK and he needs some new cleats, to be perfectly honest. They said, bring back Redskins legend Cam Sims. Oh my God, I remember when we released Cam Sims. On God, we let go of prime Randy Moss when we let go of Cam Sims. That is a fan-ass favorite player. Cam Sims, is he on the market? He probably will be available in the coming days, but we shall see. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this stream up. We still got 636 in the chat. Smash that like button. Thank y'all for pulling up on an impromptu stream on a Thursday afternoon where we got some shit up off our chest. Let's call this a therapy session. Washington traded first-round wide receiver Jahan Dotson and a 5th-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 2025 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks. We're going to call it a day for this one. Does Washington have another receiving move on the way? Is Washington going to make a move at corner, or is Washington going to wait till cut down day? We shall see. To be continued. ... Adam Peters, you have full trust from the real ones here in this organization. Make shit happen, and let's get all of the sins of Ron Rivera Pass off of our roster if you see fit. Until next time, Commander Rio out. Thank y'all.